I'm so glad you're here with us today. We're diving deep into A Course in Miracles, and if you're just joining our community, you might be wondering what this course is all about. I'd love to invite you to check out the very first video on this channel, where I break down exactly what A Course in Miracles is, how it came to exist, and why it's been transforming lives for over 5 decades. It'll give you the perfect foundation for everything we explore together here. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever worked really hard for something, finally gotten it, and then felt empty? Maybe it was a promotion, a relationship, a purchase you'd been dreaming about. You did everything right, you achieved the goal, but instead of the lasting happiness you expected, there was just this hollow feeling, maybe even anxiety about losing it, or disappointment that it wasn't quite what you thought it would be. If you've experienced this, you're not alone. In fact, you've just encountered one of the most important lessons the ego will ever try to hide from you. Today, we're exploring Section 6 of Chapter 4 in A Course in Miracles, The Rewards of God. And I have to tell you, this section completely revolutionizes how we think about rewards, gifts, happiness, and what we're really seeking in this life. Because here's the truth that most of us have been conditioned to ignore. Everything the ego promises you is designed to keep you searching, striving, and never quite arriving. The ego's rewards always come with a price tag, whether that's fear, guilt, sacrifice, or the constant anxiety of potential loss. Think about how we've been taught to view rewards in this world. Work hard and you'll be rewarded. Sacrifice now for happiness later. Prove your worth and you'll receive love. Be special enough and you'll finally feel complete. It's a system built entirely on lack, on the belief that you don't have what you need right now, and you must do something, achieve something, or become something different to earn it. It's exhausting, isn't it? This endless cycle of seeking, getting, losing, and seeking again. But what if everything you've been taught about rewards is backwards? What if the greatest gifts in existence have already been given to you, and the only thing standing between you and experiencing them is your belief in the ego system? What if you don't need to earn, prove, or sacrifice anything? This is exactly what A Course in Miracles is teaching us in this powerful section. The rewards of God are nothing like what the ego offers. They don't come with conditions. They can't be lost. They don't require you to be special or to prove your worthiness. They're not waiting for you in some distant future after you've accumulated enough good deeds or spiritual credits. They're here right now, already yours. But to receive them, you have to be willing to see through the ego's elaborate system of false rewards and recognize what's truly valuable. In this exploration, we're going to look at why the ego's rewards always fail us, what God's rewards actually are, and most importantly, how we can begin to shift from one thought system to the other. This isn't just philosophy or abstract spirituality. This is about the very real choice you make every single day, in every single moment, about which voice you're going to listen to and which gifts you're going to accept as real. So let's begin this journey together and discover what it really means to receive the rewards of God. The ego's false rewards. Let's talk about the ego's reward system, because once you see it clearly, you'll recognize it everywhere in your life. The ego is actually a masterful salesman. It knows exactly how to package its offerings to make them look irresistible. It promises happiness, security, love, and peace. But here's the catch. It always delivers something else entirely. Think about how the ego operates. It tells you that if you just get that perfect relationship, you'll finally feel complete. If you just achieve that level of success, you'll finally feel worthy. If you just accumulate enough wealth, you'll finally feel secure. If you just become special enough, admired enough, different enough from everyone else, you'll finally feel valuable. Notice the pattern? There's always a just, and there's always a finally. The ego's rewards are always dangling just out of reach, always in the future, always conditional on you doing something more. being something different. And here's what makes this system so insidious. Sometimes the ego actually delivers what it promised. You get the relationship, the promotion, the recognition. And for a brief moment you feel that rush of satisfaction. But then something shifts. The happiness doesn't last. The security feels fragile. The love comes with expectations and conditions. You find yourself anxious about losing what you gained, or disappointed that it wasn't quite what you expected, or already looking ahead to the next thing that will supposedly complete you. The ego has delivered its reward, but somehow you're still empty, still seeking, still incomplete. This is because every gift the ego offers requires sacrifice. To get love, you must sacrifice your authenticity. To achieve success, you must sacrifice your peace. To feel special, you must sacrifice your connection with others. To gain security, you must sacrifice your freedom. The ego never gives without taking, and what it takes is always more valuable than what it gives. It's a rigged game, designed to keep you playing but never winning. The ego also operates on a foundation of fear and scarcity. Its entire reward system is based on the belief that there isn't enough, that you don't have enough, that you aren't enough. So you must compete, compare, prove yourself, defend yourself, and constantly strive to get more while protecting what you have. Even when you succeed in the ego's terms, you're living in constant fear of loss, constantly looking over your shoulder, constantly measuring yourself against others. And perhaps the cruelest aspect of the ego's reward system is how it convinces you that the problem is never the system itself, but always you. You didn't work hard enough. You didn't deserve it enough. You weren't special enough. So you double down, try harder, sacrifice more, and the cycle continues. The ego keeps you on a treadmill, running faster and faster toward a destination that keeps moving further away. The Course tells us that the ego's gifts are not gifts at all. They're distractions designed to keep us focused on the external world, on achievement and acquisition, on anything except the truth of what we already are and what we already have. But here's the good news. Once you recognize this system for what it is, you can choose something completely different. And that's exactly where we're heading next. Understanding God's true rewards. Now let's shift everything. Let's talk about what God actually offers, because it's so radically different from the ego system that it can literally transform your entire experience of life. And here's the most beautiful part. God's rewards aren't something you need to earn, achieve, or become worthy of. They're already yours. They've always been yours. You just need to accept them. This is where A Course in Miracles gets really revolutionary. God's gifts are unconditional. There's no test you need to pass, no level of spiritual achievement you need to reach, no amount of good behavior required. You don't need to sacrifice anything, prove anything, or become anything different from what you are right now. The rewards of God are given freely, completely, and eternally, simply because of what you are, God's creation, forever whole and forever loved. So what are these rewards? Let's be specific. God gives you peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances. Not the fragile peace that requires everything to go your way, but the deep, unshakable peace that remains constant regardless of what's happening around you. God gives you love that has no conditions, no requirements, no possibility of loss. Not the ego's version of love that says, "I'll love you if you meet my needs," but the love that simply is, that extends infinitely without diminishing. God gives you joy that isn't based on getting what you want or avoiding what you fear. It's the joy of simply being, the joy that flows from recognizing your true nature. God gives you wholeness, not as something you need to achieve by collecting the right experiences or relationships, but as the truth of what you already are. You're not broken. You're not incomplete. You never were. The ego convinced you that you were fragmented and lacking, but that was never true. Here's what makes God's rewards so different. They can't be lost. Think about that for a moment. Everything the ego gives you, you can lose. Every achievement, every possession, every relationship, every status, it's all temporary and uncertain. But what God gives is eternal and unchangeable. Peace, love, joy, wholeness, these aren't things that can be taken from you because they're not external acquisitions. They're the very essence of your reality, the truth of who you are beneath all the ego's illusions. And God's rewards don't come with a price tag. The ego always demands sacrifice, remember? But God asks for nothing in return because you already have everything. There's nothing you could give that would add to what's already complete. The only thing God asks is that you accept what's being offered, that you open your hands and receive what's already yours. This might sound too good to be true, and that's your ego talking. The ego has trained you to believe that nothing valuable comes without struggle, without payment, without proving your worthiness. But that's the ego's system, not God's. In God's reality, you're already worthy because you were created worthy. You're already complete because you were created whole. You're already loved because love is what created you. The rewards of God are available right now, in this present moment. Not after you've meditated enough, prayed enough, or healed enough of your wounds. Right now. The only thing that blocks you from experiencing them is your investment in the ego's thought system, your belief that the ego's rewards are what you really want. But once you begin to see through that illusion, once you begin to choose differently, everything changes. And that choice is what we're exploring next. Choosing between two thought systems. So here we are at the most practical, most powerful part of this teaching. The choice. Because understanding the ego's false rewards and knowing about God's true gifts is wonderful, but it means nothing if you don't know how to actually choose between them in your daily life. And here's the truth that might surprise you. You're making this choice constantly, in every moment, whether you realize it or not. Every time you feel anxious, you're choosing the ego's thought system. Every time you feel peace, you're aligned with God's. Every time you're trying to prove your worth, comparing yourself to others, or feeling like you need to defend yourself, you're listening to the ego. Every time you experience genuine love, connection, or that quiet inner knowing that everything is okay, you're hearing the voice for God. The question isn't whether you're choosing, it's which voice you're choosing to follow. Let's make this really practical. Imagine you're at work and a colleague gets the promotion you wanted. In that moment, two interpretations are available to you. The ego immediately jumps in with its story. You weren't good enough. They're better than you. You've been cheated. Now your security is threatened. You need to work harder, be more competitive, prove your value. Notice how this thought system instantly creates suffering. It makes you feel separate, inadequate, and fearful. That's the ego's reward for you. Anxiety disguised as motivation. But there's another voice available, quieter, but infinitely more powerful. It says, your worth isn't determined by a promotion. Your value isn't up for competition. You're complete regardless of this outcome. Perhaps this opens a door you couldn't see before. You can extend genuine happiness to your colleague without losing anything yourself. This is the Holy Spirit's interpretation. And notice what it offers: peace, freedom, and the ability to love without conditions. Same situation, completely different experience based entirely on which thought system you choose. The key to making this choice consciously is learning to recognize which voice you're listening to. The ego's voice always involves fear, separation, judgment, and scarcity. It makes you feel small, defensive, and competitive. It's loud, urgent, and demanding. The Holy Spirit's voice brings peace, connection, and abundance. It makes you feel whole, safe, and loving. It's quiet, patient, and gentle. Once you start paying attention, the difference becomes obvious. Now here's something important. Choosing God's thought system doesn't mean you become passive or stop taking action in the world. It means you act from a different foundation. Instead of acting from fear, trying to prove your worth or protect your specialness. You act from peace, extending love and trusting in your inherent wholeness. The actions might look similar from the outside, but the internal experience is completely different, and that changes everything. This choice gets easier with practice. Every time you notice yourself caught in the ego system, feeling anxious, defensive, or lacking, you can pause. You can recognize that you're listening to the wrong voice. And you can choose again. You don't need to be perfect at this. You don't need to choose correctly every time. The beautiful thing about God's rewards is they're always available. Every moment is a fresh opportunity to choose peace instead of conflict, love instead of fear, truth instead of illusion. The Course teaches us that this is the only meaningful choice we ever make. To listen to the ego or to listen to the Holy Spirit. To accept the ego's false rewards or to receive God's true gifts. Everything else in life flows from this fundamental choice. And the incredible news is that you have the power to make this choice right now, in this very moment. That's what true freedom is. So here's what we've discovered together today about the rewards of God. We've seen how the ego's reward system keeps us trapped in a cycle of seeking without finding, always promising fulfillment, but delivering only temporary satisfaction mixed with fear and anxiety. We've explored the radical truth that God's rewards are already ours, unconditional, eternal, and available right now. And we've learned that the key to experiencing these rewards is simply choosing which thought system we're going to follow, moment by moment, in every situation we face. This section of A Course in Miracles is teaching us something absolutely transformative. You don't need to earn love, peace, or wholeness. You don't need to become someone different or achieve something more. You simply need to accept what's already been given. To choose God's voice over the ego's voice. To recognize that the rewards you've been seeking outside yourself have been within you all along. And here's the beautiful thing about this teaching. Every single moment is a new opportunity. If you've been listening to the ego for years, decades, your entire life, that doesn't matter. Right now, in this present moment, you can choose differently. You can choose peace instead of anxiety. You can choose love instead of fear. You can choose to remember your wholeness instead of believing in your lack. That's the freedom God offers you, and it's always, always available. I want to encourage you to practice this awareness in your daily life. When you notice yourself feeling anxious, competitive, or lacking, pause and ask yourself, which voice am I listening to right now? What would it look like to choose differently in this moment? You don't have to be perfect at this. Just being willing to notice, to question, to choose again. That's where transformation begins. Thank you so much for being here today and exploring this profound teaching with me. If this video brought you clarity, peace, or a new perspective, I'd be incredibly grateful if you'd give it a like. It helps more people discover these teachings and find their way to the peace they're seeking. And if you're not already subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing so you can continue this journey with us. We explore A Course in Miracles together every single day, going deeper into these life-changing principles, and I'd love for you to be part of this community. Also, if you know someone who's struggling, someone who's caught in that endless cycle of seeking the ego's rewards and coming up empty, please share this video with them. Sometimes a single insight can change everything, and you might be the one who helps them discover a completely different way of seeing. And finally, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What stood out to you most from today's exploration? Have you noticed the difference between the ego's rewards and God's rewards in your own life? How are you practicing this choice in your daily experience? Your insights and experiences not only help you integrate these teachings more deeply, but they also inspire and support everyone else in this community. We're all learning together, and your voice matters. Remember, the rewards of God are yours right now. All you need to do is accept them. I'll see you tomorrow as we continue our journey through A Course in Miracles together. Until then, choose peace.